Welcome to In Conversation, folks. We come to you from Washington, D.C. My name is Ramesh Bhutani.
And I'm Aastha Verma.
I want to tell you, Aastha, last week I went to luncheon because presidential candidate Mitt Romney has started coming out. He wrote a book. He wants to plug his book, just like every other presidential candidate. So we sat down, we listened to him. He did not come up with a single good idea. You know what he did? Just beat up on President Obama for 35, 40 minutes. And I thought that did not bode well for him. I remember President Reagan, when he was running, he made sure that he opened up with a nice joke. And then he took you to a vision, the shining city on the hill and the others, and then gave you an idea, but never really beat up on the other guy. But Mitt Romney, he was beating up on President Obama. I didn't like it.
Yeah, it's first, a couple of things about this strike me. One is it that time already? I mean, President Obama's just been in office for 1 year. It's basically been 1/4 of his presidency, and already you see that everybody's out for the 2012 election. Everybody has that on their mind. Clearly, Mitt Romney does too. He's starting the campaign early. But this is just so typical of the Republican mindset these days, is just to go on the attack. It's to put down any idea that's out there, and basically create this fear and negative sentiment about anything that is even an attempt to be positive. Whether it's health care or whether it is poo-pooing the Stimulus Act. I mean, anything they can do to try to get out in front and create a negative sentiment about this presidency and about this president, they are doing anything and everything they can. Which, unfortunately, is working because the Democrats are so fractured. I'm disappointed, although I guess I can't say I'm surprised.
No, Democrats are fractured for other reasons, which is corruption and within their ranks. But before we talk about that, I want to tell you, yes, President Obama, I believe, is trying to do way too much in that 1 year. The experts say that there should be only 2 or 3 things on your plate at one time, whereas he has 8 or 9. I loved it when he got the Democrats and the Republicans in the same room, and he says, I'm not an ideologue. Just tell me how you want to get this thing done, and let's just do it together.
That's the problem, is everybody is talking about everything that's wrong, but very few people are coming out with ideas, especially on the Republican side. I mean, that's the one criticism I have for the Republican Party, is it's okay to criticize, but if you're not offering alternatives, if you're not providing a counter plan, the American public is not getting a fair and balanced equation which they can say, okay, this side has these choices, this side has these choices, let me make an educated decision. That's not happening. It's just one side basically pointing the finger and becoming very negative about the other side, which I think the American public is tired of it. I know I'm tired of it.
Everybody's tired of it. I remember former Speaker Newt Gingrich says, if you're not going to be on the table and offering new ideas and stand still for 3 years, it does not sound good. You got to be on the table. Offer your ideas. Throw 20 things on the wall. Maybe 3 will stick. That's okay to take it till the next election.
Well, one thing President Obama is doing, which is a change, is he's on the road a lot. He's going back to his sort of grassroots way of campaigning, campaign-style speeches where he's reaching out directly to the public, doing these town hall meetings to try to revive this health care bill that he's trying to pass. He should have been doing this from the beginning. I think this is the old Obama that everybody wants to see. Ever since he became president, he's been sort of on the house in the hill, and people haven't seen him out and about. He's been on the offensive lately, and I think it works better for him. I think the American public likes him that way, and I think he needs to take control of this Democratic Party because they are all over the place.
But you know what? You got to be realist. You got to be realist. There's only so much money we are pulling in taxes. You cannot be spending beaucoup amount. Warren Buffett the other day on the CNBC television said that no, he doesn't like the health care reform bill because it is at 16, 17% of the GDP. Get it down at 13%. He said all he should do, get in the room and say, I want 13%, talk among yourselves, come up with whatever it is. The experts can be in the room, and we can have a health care bill at 13% GDP instead of 16 and 17%.
I agree. I also think that healthcare is still not going to get the attention it deserves until the economy is substantially better. And it is not substantially better. And that's a big problem for President Obama. I think it's a big problem for the Democratic Party.
That's right. But moving on, the Democratic Party is in trouble because of the corruption charges. You know, Chairman Rangel of the Ways and Means Committee has sort of stepped down. He says temporarily, but everybody knows he's a goner. 7 Democrats that actually were investigated by the Ethics Committee, even though they were told, okay, you're in clear, but they established a clear link between the campaign donations and earmarked by that particular congressman and his staff. Look at Mayor Fenty. I mean, I like the guy. He gets things done. But again, there are people taking advantage of him. It seems like he's being investigated by the council to say, how did those parks and recreation contracts came about? So Democrats are in trouble because of some of that.
I agree. And this is the same point I was making earlier, is that the Democratic Party is a mess. And it's unfortunate because the Republican Party, which was a mess, has found a way to at least unite on this front. And they've at least used this negative sentiment to unite. And you've got Sarah Palin on the road. You've got Mitt Romney on the road. You've got all kinds of spokespeople out on various shows like the Fox Network. The Democrats need to be going on the offensive and getting ready for 2012, not getting caught up in these kinds of things. Part of the sentiment, I truly believe, I'll be controversial for saying this, but when you have senators and congressmen who have been in Congress forever and ever, they learn the system. Yeah. They learn how to get by the system. They learn the loopholes of the system. So I think periodically it is good to refresh the people there because they're not as familiar with the system and how to get past it, how to get by it. So some of these old senators, when they get caught in these kind of operations, you know, ethics committee violations, I'm not entirely surprised. It just means it's time to kind of bring new, fresh blood into the picture.
Not only that, just make them work 40 hours a week. Well, there will now be time to play. You know.
We did talk about that. I couldn't agree more. Well, speaking of corruption, I'm sure you all remember the former governor of New York, Eliot Spitzer. He was a man that was busted of several things.